Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling a super specific, but honestly incredibly common challenge, keeping those gorgeous, classic older North Shore houses actually comfortable. If you own an older home, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got this beautiful architecture, maybe some stunning original woodwork, but the second the summer heat hits, you quickly realize your home's ductwork is either aging, severely limited, or just entirely non-existent. So how do you bring modern comfort into a historic space? Well, today, we're going to break down the reality of using mini-split systems to solve this exact problem.
So, it all really boils down to this fundamental question. How do you cool a classic home without destroying its vintage architecture? I mean, it's the absolute nightmare of any historic homeowner, right? You desperately want central air, but the idea of ripping down 100-year-old original plaster ceilings or cutting into beautiful hardwood floors just to install extensive traditional ductwork retrofits, that's enough to make you just sweat it out with a box fan instead. You want the comfort, but you definitely don't want the demolition.
Okay, let's dive into this and define exactly what our potential solution is, just so we're all on the same page. A ductless mini-split is an air conditioning and heating system that routes refrigerant lines and power to individual indoor units. The magic phrase there is eliminating the need for extensive ductwork. Instead of massive metal tubes running all through your walls, you have small, flexible lines connecting an outdoor compressor to an indoor unit, often called a head, that's mounted on the wall, floor, or ceiling. It's a highly targeted approach that completely sidesteps the need for major demolition.
Section 1. The solution. The pros of going ductless.
There's a very good reason mini-splits are often pitched as this modern cheat code for historic homes, and it comes down to physical contrast. Think about traditional retrofits for a second. Trying to force standard ductwork into spaces in an older North Shore home that were literally never designed for it, that requires major demolition and rerouting. It's dusty, it's expensive, and it totally alters the home's character. But on the flip side, you have the mini-split installation. Because you're only routing small refrigerant lines and a bit of electrical wire, it requires far fewer structural changes. You're actually working with the house as it was built, rather than tearing it apart to fit the HVAC system.
And beyond just avoiding a massive renovation headache, there's a huge operational advantage here: zoning. Older homes are incredibly quirky. You know the drill. You might have one room that gets blasted by the afternoon sun and feels like a total sauna, while a bedroom with a high ceiling stays freezing cold. Traditional central air just tries to cool the whole house at once, which usually leaves some rooms freezing and others hot. Mini-splits, though, give you room-by-room control. You can target your comfort exactly where it's needed, adapting to those weird ceiling heights and finally solving the inconsistent passive airflow that older homes were originally built around.
Plus, the efficiency on these things is off the charts. Modern mini-split systems are highly efficient because they're inverter-driven. What that means is, instead of just kicking on at full blast and then shutting off, like an old, clunky window unit, the system smoothly scales its energy use up and down to precisely match the room's demand. Oh, and a lot of these systems feature heat pump capabilities too. So this single piece of equipment isn't just for cooling. It can reverse its operation to provide heating, which significantly improves your year-round comfort while being super smart about energy use.
Section 2. The twist. The installation reality check.
So the crucial point we need to make here is that hardware alone isn't some magic wand. There is a serious friction between what modern systems require and the reality of historic homes. A mini-split needs proper sizing and efficient line routing, but what's the reality of an older home? It probably has a drafty, leaky exterior envelope. If you size a system for a modern airtight home and stick it in a drafty 1920s colonial, your comfort is going to severely suffer. The system also requires careful unit placement, but older homes have high ceilings and odd passive airflow patterns that can totally block that air from circulating right. You need sealed penetration points, but older homes have completely different baseline moisture behaviors. The hardware is great, absolutely, but it has to be married perfectly to the reality of the house itself. Because these older homes vary so wildly in their insulation levels and airflow, you can't just, slap one indoor unit in the living room and expect it to magically cool the upstairs bedrooms. It just doesn't work that way. A whole home mindset is absolutely necessary. You might actually need multiple heads strategically placed to achieve consistent comfort across those winding hallways, tucked-away bedrooms, and main living spaces. It requires a holistic design, not just a localized patch.
And that brings us to a super critical warning: moisture management. Older homes breathe completely differently than newer builds. Even though you aren't installing massive ducts, you're still creating condensation when you cool the air. If the contractor doesn't properly plan out condensation drain routing, or if they do a sloppy job sealing the exterior penetrations where the lines enter the house, you are asking for trouble. Poor exterior sealing or inadequate drainage can lead to hidden moisture issues inside your walls.
The kind of structural damage you'd never notice immediately, but that could absolutely wreak havoc on an older build over time.
Section 3. The Playbook. Essential questions for your contractor.
Let's move to how this all builds together. To get this right, you really need to shift your focus away from just picking a fancy equipment brand and instead focus entirely on the system design. Step 1. Ask a qualified contractor for room-by-room load calculations. Do not let them just eyeball your total square footage and guess. They need to calculate the specific heating and cooling needs of each individual room based on things like windows and insulation. Step 2. Work with them to determine the exact number of indoor heads needed for your living areas so you don't end up with weird hot spots. And step 3, circling back to that vital moisture issue, force them to show you their specific, detailed plan for condensate drain routing and exterior sealing.
And before you accept any quote, you need to ask these final 2 questions. First, ask exactly where the indoor units are going to be placed. You want to balance optimum airflow with noise considerations. I mean, you definitely don't want a unit blowing freezing air directly onto your bed or humming loudly right next to your living room sofa. Second, if you're opting for a system with heat pump capabilities, ask them point blank how it will perform during the colder North Shore periods. Some heat pumps lose efficiency when temperatures totally plummet, so you need to ensure the system is genuinely designed for the harsh realities of your local climate.
Now, what's really interesting about all of this is the bottom line. The best outcomes depend on correct sizing, thoughtful unit placement, and careful sealing, insulation, and moisture management. Success is not just about swiping your card for the most expensive HVAC hardware. Success is 100% about how thoughtfully that hardware is integrated into your home's unique historic envelope.
Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought to consider. Take a look around your classic home. Is your home's envelope actually ready for a modern upgrade, or are you just buying hardware? A mini-split can absolutely be the perfect, minimally invasive solution to cool your older home. But as we've learned today, making it work seamlessly requires a deep understanding of the house itself. Don't just buy a machine. Demand a complete, customized comfort design. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this helps you look at your next home upgrade with a much more informed eye. Catch you next time.